beautiful not to share. Because when it comes to love, it's not about clinging tightly or possessing one another. It's a declaration that says, I am my own, you are your own, but let's intertwine our lives and go on an adventure. It's mutual respect, where each person's emotions and growth are their own responsibility, yet there's a beautiful, shared commitment to support, call forward, and be curious about each other. This perspective shifts the focus from dependency to a partnership where both individuals are encouraged to flourish in their unique ways, whilst grounded in their love. It's about understanding that real love acts not as a cage, but as a safe space that is an expander for growth. The importance of love, then, is not just in the joy and comfort it brings, but in its capacity to transform us. It invites us to be better, not just for our partner but for ourselves. You see, there are parts of us we cannot transcend outside of loving partnership. Love becomes a mirror reflecting all parts of us, not just the parts we choose to show but even the corners we're learning to embrace. It's building a connection that's rooted in authenticity, where the journey together is as much about individual discovery as it is about mutual exploration. The importance of love, in this light, transcends mere companionship. It becomes a dynamic force that propels us toward our fullest potential, together and individually. Love makes attachment seem so dull, when it's felt and experienced in its fullness. I could go on and on about love, in all its forms forever, because I truly believe love makes life beautiful. It is the point, the reason, the highest vibration. I remember this in moments of grief, that it's all just love. My heart's capacity to love so deeply allows me to feel pain just as deep, and how beautiful to have such a big loving heart, and to experience the pureness of love. 1. The 2-minute scan. Tell yourself, I'll only do it for 2 minutes. Your brain hates starting, but loves to keep at it. After 2 minutes, the resistance is gone and you continue. 2. The mirror code. Stand in front of the mirror and say out loud, I can do it, period. Your brain listens to your own voice as if it were a trusted person. 3. The dopamine detox. Constantly in the mood for TikTok, snacks, endless scrolling? Sit down for 30 minutes and do nothing. Your brain becomes restless and searches for productive things on its own. Suddenly you want to clean up, learn or be creative. 4. The fear killer question. Instead of, why am I afraid, ask yourself, what would I do if I were brave? Your head stops doubting and you act. These tricks will change your life if you use them. Men lead, period. They don't wait to see how much a woman is willing to do first. They don't sit back and say, well, let me see how she moves before I make an effort. No. Real men don't match energy, they set the tone. They take initiative. They show up first. With clarity, intention, and consistency. A man who truly knows who he is doesn't play games with emotions. He's not calculating his next move based on yours. He leads with purpose. With presence. With action. Because a man grounded in who he is doesn't operate from fear, ego, or indecision. He operates from vision. If a man is interested in a woman, truly interested, he's not sitting back waiting to see how hard she's willing to ride for him before he decides to treat her right. He's not giving her just enough while hoping she overextends herself. Know a man who's emotionally mature and spiritually aligned leads with love. He creates safety. He takes responsibility for the direction of the relationship. He doesn't copy her pace, he sets it. Matching energy is what you do in games. Leading is what you do when you're serious. And this isn't about control. It's not about dominance or outdated gender roles. It's about leadership. It's about a man showing that he's capable of building something with effort, vision, and accountability. A man who leads doesn't leave a woman guessing. He communicates. He plans. He creates space for her to feel secure, supported, and cherished. Too many men think they're standing their ground by waiting for a woman to prove herself. But that's not strength, that's fear dressed in pride. A man doesn't need to test her loyalty before offering her stability. He doesn't need her to prove she's worth it before he shows up with real effort. Because here's the truth. A woman with a good heart, good energy, and a clear mind doesn't need someone who can match her. She needs someone who can lead her. Someone who makes her feel safe to soften. To trust. To follow a man who knows where he's going. So no. Real men don't match energy. They establish it. They bring consistency where there's confusion. Direction where there's doubt. Leadership where there's potential. What qualities do I admire most in others? When do I feel most at peace with myself? What type of work or activities make me feel fulfilled? What are the 3 most important things in my life right now? What principles or beliefs do I stand by, no matter what? How do I want to be remembered by others? What do I want to prioritize in my life, above everything else? What makes me feel proud of myself? What do I wear at my relationships to look like? What actions or behaviors in others frustrate me the most? What makes me feel energized and alive? How do I want to show up for my family and friends? What values would I teach to future generations? How do I want to impact the world around me? What would I fight for or defend at all costs? What do I feel most grateful for in my life right now? When I think about making big decisions, what values guide my choices? What are my non-negotiables in relationships, work, or light? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? What do I want to experience more of in my life? How do I define success? And what values does that definition reflect? What makes me feel connected to others? What personal qualities do I most want to embody in my life? What sacrifices would I be willing to make for something deeply value? What moments in my life have felt most meaningful? How do I want to show up for myself each day? What do I value most about my character and personality? When faced with adversity, what values help me stay grounded? What do I feel is missing from my life right now, and how can I align my actions with my values to change that? What values do I want to honor more fully in my daily life? Never get into a relationship that does not have a label. We call that a situationship. It feels fun at first. No pressure, no rules. But it's emotional chaos. You act like a couple, you enjoy each other's company, you tell yourself you're happy, yet you have no label. And without a label, you have no right to set expectations. The other person feels no need to show up for you. A label is the handshake that sets the terms. Someone who refuses to put a label on the relationship is simply not ready for commitment. A label is not just a word, it's the bare minimum you need so both of you know what you're signing up for. When a label is missing, it's absolutely confusing. You'll come up with excuses or even gaslight yourself about the missed calls, the hot and cold behavior, the mixed signals. You keep telling yourself it's fine even when it clearly hurts. You end up chasing breadcrumbs of clarity and starving for real connection. Boundaries only exist when there's a label. Label it or end it. They want the benefits without the commitment. That is emotional freeloading. They skip the label because they don't want to compromise their time. Real relationships demand effort. If they can't be there when you need them, the fact that they still refuse to define the relationship is already your answer. Set a clear rule for yourself, have a label after 5 dates. If they won't label it, drop it and look for someone who will. We all wish the first person we meet could be the one, but life doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, you'll meet 5, 10, even 20 different people over the years before you find real partnership. And that's okay. As long as you grow from each experience, not repeat the same chaos with a different face. Here's the bottom line, you deserve clarity. Don't settle below your needs. Train yourself to walk away from anyone you have to beg just to meet your basic emotional needs. Teach yourself that if someone can't meet your needs, it doesn't mean you're asking for too much, especially if you know you're capable of showing up for. Real man will respect you even when he's mad at you. Let that sink in. Not just when things are good, not just when you're smiling and agreeing with him. But even in the heat of an argument, even when emotions are running high and pride wants to take the lead, he still chooses respect. Because a man's true character isn't revealed when everything is smooth, it shows up in how he treats you when he's frustrated, smooth, disappointed, or hurt. Anyone can be kind when it's easy. But it takes emotional maturity to stay gentle when the conversation gets hard. It takes self-control to express anger without becoming disrespectful. And it takes love, real, steady, intentional love to say, I'm upset, but I'll never humiliate you, degrade you, or make you question your worth. A real man doesn't weaponize silence. He doesn't call you names in anger and then act like words don't leave bruises. He doesn't try to win the argument by tearing you down. Even when he disagrees with you, he still sees you as his partner, not his opponent. He doesn't forget that you're someone he's supposed to protect emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, not someone to lash out at when he's overwhelmed. Because respect is not a favor. It's not something that should disappear the moment the vibe shifts of ego's flare. Respect is the foundation of real love. It's what holds the relationship together when passion fades, when patience runs low, when life gets loud. Love is the feeling, respect is the choice. The discipline. The asterisk put if. So remember this, if a man can only treat you right when he's happy with you, that's not a stable love, that's emotional immaturity dressed up as romance. That's someone who only knows how to love when it benefits them, not someone who knows how to love when it's hard. A real man doesn't stop being respectful just because he's upset. He doesn't hurt you just because he's hurting. He doesn't take low blows just to feel powerful in the moment. Instead, he pauses. He cools off. He communicates. He says, I'm mad right now, but I'm still on your side. That's love. That's growth. That's a relationship that can last, so don't be fooled by grand gestures or sweet words when the mood is good. Pay attention to how he acts when things aren't going his way. Watch how he handles conflict, not just how he holds your hand. Because a real man isn't just loving when it's convenient, he's respectful, even when it's hard. And if he can't give you that, he's ready for the kind of love you deserve. They don't announce themselves. They don't try to impress or force their way into your world. They just stay. Slowly. Softly, steadily. They ask how your day was and actually listen. They remember the little things you forgot you even said. They don't fill the silence with noise, they sit in it with you, making it feel less lonely. Around them, you stop performing. You don't have to explain your moods, your fears, your past. They don't need you to be better or fixed. Just you is enough. And somehow, without even trying, they become the safest place you know. They never demand your energy, but always give you theirs. They don't love you with fire and drama, they love you with quiet consistency, with soft eyes. With hands that never let go when things get hard. That kind of presence is rare. Most people want attention. These people want connection. And if you're lucky enough to find someone like that, don't wait for a perfect moment to appreciate them. Tell them. One day, you'll realize that the same person cannot be found twice in life. Not everyone is replaceable. Be careful with the hearts you touch, and even more so with the ones you wound. In today's fast-moving world, we've become accustomed to thinking that everyone and everything is temporary. We glorify the idea of moving on, believing there's always something better waiting just around the corner. But some connections are once in a lifetime. Their essence, their understanding, the way they made you feel seen and valued, these cannot be replicated, no matter how many new people you meet. Losing such a person isn't just losing a relationship, it's losing a piece of yourself that only they could bring to life. We often hurt the ones who matter most, sometimes unknowingly, sometimes out of our own fears or pride. It's easy to forget the weight of our actions or the permanence of our words when caught in the heat of the moment. We assume they'll always be there, that there will always be time to fix things. But the harsh reality is that time isn't always a healer, and second chances aren't guaranteed. The person you once hurt might be the one person who understood you best. And when they're gone, the emptiness they leave behind can be unbearable. Not everyone waits for apologies. Not everyone gives endless chances. Some people will walk away quietly, carrying their hurt with them, and you'll only realize what you lost when it's too late. You'll search for their presence in others, but no one else will shine quite the same. Their laughter, their love, their unique magic will remain unmatched. Be mindful of the way you treat those who mean the most to you. The careless moment's harsh words, neglect, or indifference can create wounds that never fully heal. A single moment of thoughtlessness can sever a connection that took years to build. Relationships, like glass, can shatter when handled carelessly, and no amount of regret can restore them to their original form. Sometimes, you just have to tell people, look, I love you and I'll probably always love you, but I'm no longer interested in the level of life you have to offer me, and because of that, I have to let you go. I'm not even asking you to change. You can keep doing exactly what you want to do and how you want to do it, you just can't do it with me anymore. It's one of the hardest truths to speak out loud, especially when your heart is still tender with love, with history, with all the shared moments that meant something real. But love alone isn't always enough to sustain a connection. At some point, you have to recognize when love is costing you your peace, your growth, your future. You have to get honest with yourself about what you're. I've realized that I can't keep shrinking myself to fit into the spaces you're comfortable with. I can't keep bending my boundaries just to maintain a version of us that no longer feels aligned with the person I'm becoming. I'm on a journey that requires more presence, more intention, more depth. And while I honor who you are and what we shared, I can't continue to ignore the fact that we're not walking the same path anymore. This isn't about blame. It's not about who's right or wrong. It's simply about accepting that we've grown in different directions and that's okay. I release you with love, not bitterness. I release you with gratitude for what you gave me, even if it wasn't everything I needed. And most importantly, I release myself from the cycles, the confusion, the compromise of self. I want a life that feels whole, one where I don't have to explain why I need more or apologize for evolving. So while this goodbye carries a quiet sorrow, it also carries strength. I'm choosing myself, fully and unapologetically, and I'm trusting that the love I give myself now will lead me toward the kind of connection I've always deserved. The way a man treats you when he's angry tells you everything you need to know about the kind of love he offers. Love doesn't disappear when frustration sets in. Respect doesn't fade when emotions flow. A man who truly cares will choose his words carefully, even when he's upset. He'll take up your space if he needs to, but he won't knock you down in the process. He will not give you doors, nor will he tell you things that hurt you, nor will he punish you with silence. Instead, he will protect you even when he is in pain, because he knows that anger is temporary, but the damage of neglected words can last forever. You see, anybody can be sweet when things are easy. But the true test of a man's character comes when the going gets tough, when they disagree, when emotions are running wild, when both are at the edge. That's when their true colors come out. If their first instinct is to hurt you, belittle you, manipulate you, or exclude you, that's not love. That's control. That's ego. That's a man who hasn't learned how to handle his own emotions without suffocating you. Don't let anyone convince you that disrespect is part of passion. Don't let a later apology become the reason to excuse the damage. I was just angry is not a free pass to insult you, ignore your feelings, or make you question your worth. That's not intensity, is immaturity. That's not love, it's a warning sign disguised as a wounded ego. The truth is, a man who truly values you will still love you despite his anger. It will take air instead of breaking you. He will step back to protect the peace between you, not to create distance. He will choose understanding over domination. And if he can't do that, he ain't ready for the kind of love you have to offer. So pay attention. Not how he treats you when things are going well, but how you react when things get tough. That is where the off lay your life. We often end up in toxic relationships not because we are unaware, but because we silence the warning signs our intuition gives us. We see the red flags, they may be subtle at first, dismissive comments, invalidation of our feelings, hot and coy behavior, of manipulation disguised as concern. But instead of speaking up, we suppress our discomfort. We downplay it. We say to ourselves, maybe I'm overthinking, they didn't mean it that way, or everyone has flaws. We rationalize the unacceptable out of a deep-rooted fear of being alone, misunderstood, or rejected. The truth is, toxic dynamics often begin with our silence. We're so afraid of confrontation or losing someone that we choose to betray ourselves instead. We allow small slights to go unchecked. We minimize our pain to avoid tension. We give someone the benefit of the doubt over and over again, until it costs us our peace, our energy, and our identity. We mistake tolerance for love. We think being patient, kind, and forgiving will make the other person change. But toxic people don't change because of kindness. In fact, the more you allow them to cross your boundaries, the more they will test how far they can go. You give them an inch, they take your self-worth. And then, one day, you look around and you realize you've lost yourself. You've become emotionally drained, constantly anxious, and riddled with self-doubt. You wonder, how did it get this bad? The answer is simple but painful: we stayed too long, we forgave too much, and we ignored ourselves in the process. Healing begins when you stop trying to fix the relationship and start trying to rescue yourself. You must begin to understand that not everyone deserves access to you, especially not these who disrespect you, gaslight you, or treat you like you're disposable. It is not your job to make toxic people love you better. It is your responsibility to love yourself enough to walk away. You are not being too sensitive for wanting to be treated with kindness, consideration, and respect. You are not asking too much by setting boundaries or expecting emotional safety. The moment you start standing up for yourself, truly standing up, things will change. You will lose people who thrived on your silence and compliance, but you will gain peace. You will gain clarity. You will start to rebuild your life in a way that aligns with your worth. So ask yourself, how much longer will I keep shrinking to fit into someone else's comfort zone? How much longer will I silence my truth for the sake of someone who doesn't hear me anyway?